rock and roll. Hey, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of What's Halperning. I am literally, as you guys are as well, stuck in Groundhog's Day here with, quarantine and all that sort of stuff. So this is the second episode of the podcast. Obviously, we're doing a little bit different format. We can't be face-to-face because of social distancing. And so we have decided that we're going to take some of our guests that are going to be on and just do little mini sessions. So with me today is Dennis Gable. Dennis is, he's a dancer, not by trade or training, but he just likes to dance. Dennis is a marketing genius, a creative. He is a brand manager, marketing strategist, brand strategist. Dennis is responsible for creating, as we affectionately call him, Little T, my little bobblehead emoji floating in space there. Dennis, as a consequence of us getting to get together and get creative all the time, Dennis has become one of my best friends. So, dude, thank you so much for being on here, and thank you for being you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
This is standard operating procedure.
Yeah. I wonder what would happen if like somebody followed us around with a camera for a day.
It'd be short-lived. It'd be quick. Be quick series. Can't air that. Shouldn't have filmed that.
No, not doing that.
So dude, you've been holed up just like the rest of us, and I've been seeing the scene behind you a lot because you and I and our marketing team and what we do on our on our regular basis is a lot of engagement. So we've adapted. We're using Zoom. We're using Marco Polo, an app, and we send each other videos and whatever. I mean, part of it is good substance and part of it is just us having fun. How have, with your other client engagements, with what you do, how have you seen your business change and be affected by social distancing and quarantine?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a little bit crazy. Like what I've found most is that I've saved an enormous amount of time by not driving. Like, honestly, that's probably one of the biggest things that I've got back is like 2 to 4 hours a day of not driving anywhere. And, I'm an extrovert and I love meeting with people and I love being out and about and all that stuff. I love lunch meetings and I love in-person meetings. And, I would always take somebody up if there was like a new client consult. I'd say, well, let's just meet for lunch or we'll meet for coffee for an hour, when really I could just call them for 15 minutes or, do a video call and take 20 or 30 minutes as opposed to driving for 30 minutes and then meeting for an hour and then driving another 30 minutes back. And so what I've really learned, what I'm trying to put into play in my business is how do I keep this momentum of time after everything goes back to normal? Because I don't want to lose that time again. Like I've been really creative during this time, like really able to process where I want my business to go and, setting it up for, cause my business hasn't really been that affected. I mean, I lost clients in the beginning that were going to be new and then they chose not to roll with it because everything was kind of up in the air. But for the most part, my business hasn't really been affected. And so how do I keep this momentum, but then grow it exponentially with what I'm creating now? And so I'm creating some things that I didn't want to create. The first time that you and I recorded the What's Halperning podcast that never aired,
the lost files,
the B-sides of What's Halperning. We talked about how I didn't want to be the guy who would record an online course. This has changed everything.
Totally.
Right. So in quarantine, I created an Instagram course, like how to for Instagram, and my startup sessions, I'm actually going to turn it into an online course where I basically teach people these certain, 7 to 10 foundational principles of how to manage your brand. So I'm even going to change what it is. Like the brand producer name that I operate under is really going to go into effect. I'm going to more effectively consider myself and call myself the brand producer. And I'm going to create content that helps people produce their own stuff. You know, it'd be like Timbaland teaching a course for people on how to record music or how to produce, and then kids watching it in their garage and making music, you know, like do the same thing for business owners. So it's really helped me to pivot and see how I can actually maximize my time, how I can maximize the money that I'm able to make with the time that I'm spending, and then have free time with my kids. Like, we went on bike rides and walks every single day of quarantine when they're at my house, which is not something that we would do in our normal life. And so
it's so funny how that's worked, man. It's so funny how that, how we've all picked up and adjusted and changed and pivoted, how we're doing things that, you know, even walking and biking and, you know, family stuff. I'm seeing so many more people. We as a family, we really liked riding bikes, and we put Marty in his little trailer and we'll go tool around the neighborhood. And we were doing that quite a bit before all this came down. And now we're seeing the number of people that are doing it is increased dramatically. So it's funny how we're seeing that. Dude, with you as with your company, with what you do professionally, you know, that the brand producer, I mean, the brand that you created for yourself encompasses what you do. And part of producing people's brands is getting to try to dig into them. And you and I are such good friends, and, you know, have talked about, you know, what makes it successful when you dig in, and what made us successful with your ability to create the brand. And really it comes down to that, like, openness and being authentic and being straightforward. And in this situation where you are normally seeking the authenticity from people, and you're digging in and trying to get them to open up to you and to emote. And then once they get to that point, that's where the magic happens, and you're able to create for them the image that they wanted. Mm-hmm. In this situation, have you seen people, you know, obviously the people that you work with already, have you seen a general trend with the way that they're being emotive about their businesses? Are you seeing people kind of dialing it down? Or are you seeing them ratchet it up? What are you seeing from how is the business owner that you engage with responding from an emotional level to what's going on?
That's a great question. The clients that I have now that are still with me, you being one of them, obviously all have their foot on the gas, which is really cool. Like, it's really cool for me to be a part of, and I don't know what part I've played in that with, you know, that drive and that momentum, but everybody that I work with on an ongoing basis has their foot on the pedal. And, you know, I was on a call with another one of the people I work with about an hour ago, and he was trying to communicate to his team something. And I was like, look, this is the point. The point is, like, keep your foot on the pedal. And what are you doing now? What can you do now that other people aren't willing to do? And that's really, like, the willingness thing is something that's played a big part in me. I think generally a lot of people have taken their foot off the gas. Not that they've stopped, but they're just sort of coasting, waiting to see. I think waiting to see is a game that a lot of people are playing, and it's a losing game. Like, if you're ever going to take a risk in life, take that shit now. Like, this is the risk moment, not in 6 months when there's some stability again, but risk that shit now, because so many people are like, just wait and see whatever's going to happen. And I'm not a wait and see kind of guy. I'm like, but that's why I'm good at what I do. I see a hole and I want to fucking go attack it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I've seen a lot of, like, we'll just wait here until. Well,
dude, I think that's, you know, it's interesting that you say, like, I think a lot of people are in that wait and see. And I think when you're outside of the entrepreneurial community, I think you start seeing some more of that. And I think your position, I bet you see more people that are foot on the gas because they're the entrepreneurs. We're used to a certain extent, being in control of our destiny. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I can't control micro or macroeconomic forces. I can't control whether people are really going to be buying or selling houses, and when, and all of that stuff. But, like, I'm used to, I've got no one coming down from the top telling me, hey man, you just lost your job. I've got to sit here and say, how am I going to feed my family? And how am I going to keep the work plentiful and work on it and keep pushing to keep the deals coming so that, one, I can keep my family fed and keep engaging with you and keep, the contractors and the other people that we work with. Like, this is not just about, the individual entrepreneur. This is about the business continuity and keeping things, flowing.
Absolutely. And I hope my kids, because they're having a weird moment too, right? Like, our kids aren't in school.
Dude, it's so weird for everyone.
There's part of it that sucks. Like, I look forward during the school year, I look forward to that 5 or 6 hours where I can dedicate myself and do work and do the things. And, it's hard being, a single dad on this side without a partner and without a roommate and without a helper. Like, I'm 5 days in a row, I have to really wrap my head around how to manage it all well. And that's difficult. But what I hope my kids are seeing is that while the world is panicking, their dad is working hard. And while the world is freaking out, their dad has peace. And while the world is freaking out, their dad is saying, let's go on a bike ride. Everything's going to be okay. Let's, really double down and pour into what we can do well for our family so that when it all goes back to normal, I mean, fuck, man, I want to use quarantine as a time to make money so that I can take my kids on vacation this summer.
Yep.
You know what I mean? As opposed to like just sort of waiting for it all to come back.
I think you nailed it. Like, it's that control, because you have taken that initial risk of separating from the corporate world and creating your own business to stand on top of and run and go chase the way that you've wanted to. Now, dude, we've all, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you've tasted risk. The second you forego that first paycheck, you're tasting that risk. And so you've already tasted risk, and now the world is just a little riskier. And is it more risky? And within that risk, is there opportunity? Damn right. And where is it? And how can you go chase it? So you're nailing the exact, like, that's what I started feeling. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not head in the sand, all is sunshine and, whatever, primrose path. But I know that the real people are being really affected. I personally know people. I thank goodness, knock on wood, my business has been good and robust and solid. I don't know if that's going to end or when, but all I know is that I can control what I can control, and I'm going to dig in deeply and control my business. And so I think having that baseline of a little bit of control allows the entrepreneur and the business owner to maybe not feel as panicky or as like, well, let's just see where it's going to go, because, well, yeah, I'm going to be affected by the mainstream of this thing. But if I can carve out a little bit of a niche on the edge, maybe it's safer waters, and being an entrepreneur, we have the ability to pivot like that.
Yeah. And I spent the first week of like true quarantine, when it was suggested shut down, like suggested stay at home and all that. I probably spent, this is not an exaggeration, 20 hours of my time in the first 7 days helping people learn how to post on Instagram. That was why I made the course, because it was like, I was having the same conversation every day. People were like, what the fuck am I going to do? And I was like, I don't know. What do you do now? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do now, and how can you do it? And what way can we pivot it so that you can, fucking run forward. My ex-wife Jenna is even on that list. Like, I spent an hour and a half with her. Like, here's what you're good at. Here's what you need to talk about. Here's where the economy is. Here's what people are thinking and doing. People, businesses who have money need you more than ever. She runs a virtual assistant company. It's like, this is your moment. If you don't fucking take a risk. And she was like, but I don't want to be on, I don't want to take videos and do that. And I was like, I don't give a shit about what you want. If you want to succeed in this particular moment, there's no, I don't want to, because it's there and it's open, and I think what I love about not just our friendship, but one of the things that really has inspired me about you specifically is that you keep going to your office. Nobody's there.
It's a ghost town. Like, I'm not at risk.
Right. You're going to your office so that you can, and you are fortunate to work in an essential industry, right? So you're not breaking any rules, not doing anything wrong. You're not being around people who could affect you or your family. Like, there's an open building, and you're going to that open building so that you can focus and dedicate to make sure that you still are providing for your family. Like, that has been really, really inspiring to me, because you could fucking lay in the pool every day. You know what I mean? Like, you've got people on your team that you could go put to work, and instead you're the one that's there. Not that the other people on your team aren't working, but it's fucking really inspiring that you're not just working on your tan and sitting in the pool and, you know, doing those things. And it's not that you're not doing those things or that you can't or shouldn't, but your dedication to what you're doing is fucking really inspiring.
Thank you, dude. Thank you very much. If me coming to the office makes me an inspiration, then, you know, call me Miles Davis or whatever the joke is.
Call me Father Teresa.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. I could have gone in some different directions, but dude, I mean, could I carve out space in my house and be relatively effective? I could, but the lens through which I'm seeing this is the opportunity lens. And I am so chomping at the bit to just keep working on my business, not just in it. And I've said it before, and it's like, dude, we're improving our processes. I'm rebuilding. I've taken the master task list that I have for all the moving parts, and I've literally blown it up and pieced it back together, and just went on and added more today, and realized my empty seat in my executive assistant spot, I have 58 written tasks, 58 for that person that we've divided among the team, and that 25 of them are getting done, the rest aren't. And, you know, we're still client facing, we're doing all the good stuff and doing it right. But the finer detail that I've built into my business over the last, 8 years, some of those little fine points aren't being done. So it's just, we're getting through it, but not the way that we want to. But again, it's like working on it and realizing, okay, I have roles to fill. I just had a call with my executive coach before you and I chatted, and it's like, all right, I've got a candidate, and it's time to get out there and just pull the trigger and let's go. Is it risky? Yes. But do I feel like I'm in control of my destiny? Yes, unless something, bigger comes down from the economy. But right now I'm controlling what I can control, and I'm helping my clients to control what they can control. There are plenty of ways that we can skin this in this economy. There's opportunity in every housing market. Our housing market, hasn't, the rules haven't changed. It's all operating the way it's operating. So now let's go control what we can control. The world is spinning around us. It might be upside down, but my legs are still planted on the ground. Your legs are planted on the ground. The people we're engaging with are planted on the ground. So, dude, I think there's a lot more to come. And I think I like out of this conversation, the lesson, instantly that you went down is just that, like working on your business and taking control and just trying to be that solid rock of example for your children and the people in your sphere. I'm still working. I'm still producing. We are still doing the right stuff for our clients and our families. And I think that speaks volumes to who you are. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. This is first mini sesh of our What's Halperning podcast. Can't wait to get you on when we can do a little more long form and peel back a couple of the layers of the Dennis Gable onion, which, dude, definitely, now that I say that, it'll definitely make you cry. We'll get a couple tears out of it.
I'll cry for sure.
Already. Just thinking about it, you tear it up. But no, can't wait to have you on for a full blown sesh. Once we're able to get out of our coops here and get set back up in our studio, we'll be rocking and rolling. But thank you, brother. I love you very much. Thank you so much for coming on. All right, dude.
Sure.
We'll talk soon.